Take it away by the Used on your home for pure rock music, WONC 89.1 FM. Joining me right now for Sleepless with Steve, the show that brings you great rock music punctuated with a little bit of film talk. Joining me right now, Dominic Guanzon. Dominic, how are you today? How's my good buddy?
I'm doing good. Can't wait to talk about indie films and our obligation to support them, or no?
It's not even indie films. Like, that's the thing. People get kind of, like, turned off. People think that, like, indie films is like the government. It's a club and they're not in it. You know what I mean? like, it's... People get kind of, like, turned off by indie film. And the other thing is, too, is, like, indie film, that's one of the most misused terms.
Sure.
In I would say, in film lexicon. I would say I've misused it, too.
Can we define it first, then?
In indie film, at least, it's not really even pertinent to what we're talking about a little bit, but not too much. An indie film is a film made by a studio that's not, number one, not technically in an umbrella of a larger studio. Like, it's not a subsidiary of Lionsgate. Okay. You know what I mean? If it's a subsidiary of Lionsgate, it's still getting a Lionsgate push. Or a subsidiary, like, or Legendary or something like that.
So not an indie film.
It's usually a studio. An indie film is like, as much of a colloquialism as it is. It's defined as a movie, usually under like $10 million or so, usually, I mean, even lower, maybe even under $5 million, made outside of like a studio umbrella, released usually in a small amount of theaters. First off, and I got to continue correcting people on this, La La Land is not an indie film.
Oh, goodness,
Moonlight is. Moonlight is technically an indie film because it's from the studio also A24, which operates largely a little on the outskirts of Hollywood, too. Yeah. So, La La Land is not an indie movie.
I don't know why anyone would think that to begin with.
You hear it. I mean, you really do. Like even I just saw the movie. I didn't talk about it on the show because it's so god-awful, the movie. And I don't even want to say the title. I already had enough, embarrassment. The movie Slamma-Jamma, that's an indie film. That was released over one weekend in last month.
Okay.
You know, I'll tell you right now, I think I blushed when I went to the ticket taker on a Sunday morning. Nice Sunday morning. The birds were chirping. It was like 60 degrees out. People were doing outside things. And I had to go to a theater and go up to the teenager working the counter. And I had to tell her, one for Slamma-Jamma, please.
And it's this little white kid with blonde hair.
Yeah, I know. I was
one for Slamma-Jamma.
I was the only one in the theater. and they put it in the 700-person theater for Lord knows what reason. It's like a faith-based drama.
You were really feeling it, the emptiness.
You want to know the funniest thing? I already said I wasn't going to talk about it. I'm not. Okay. But, you know, I don't want to give it the due because it's such a horrible film. You know what's funny about the movie is that it's about basketball, if you couldn't infer. It's about basketball. It's about like a dunking competition. It's got a faith-based undertone to it as well. The lead actor in the movie, his name is Chris Staples. He's a professional dunk artist. And he's a former Harlem Globetrotter.
That's awesome.
Now, you know,
I like the Harlem Globetrotters.
That is pretty cool. Now, you know what the funniest thing about this movie is that Chris Staples, and this is the kind of stuff that like these midnight movies were made for. In case you forget his name, he wears sleeveless shirts the whole time, you know, like basketball jerseys. Yeah. He's got his name, Chris Staples, tattooed on his left, arm, on his left tricep. It says Chris Staples on his arm, which is hilarious, man. I mean, that
just in case you forgot.
I mean, that movie, we need a whole show dedicated to that. Look that movie up when we're on break. Slamma-Jamma. It was only in theaters for a week.
Okay.
At the end of the last month. Horrible film. Unbelievable.
Oh, was this recent?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Horrible. I thought you were like a kid when this came out.
No. This was.
Okay.
No, my voice hasn't changed when you were.
Got it. So two qualifiers for indie film. Then one is money, and two is the studio.
Money and distribution. Money just and
distribution. Right.
Studio.
Okay.
No, of course.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah, but that's the qualifications for indie film. Now, here's the thing. Now, here's really the core. It's not even really about indie films, but it has a little bit to do with them.
Sure.
This is the thing. We had Fate of the Furious come out this weekend. Huge movie, of course. Now, the next big movie coming out doesn't come out until May 5th. That's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. You have an obligation these next 2 weeks. There's a lot of movies coming out. There's nine wide releases coming out. I'll name them really quickly. Born in China, Free Fire, Phoenix Forgotten, The Promise, Unforgettable, The Circle, How to Be a Latin Lover, and Slight.
I've literally only heard of The Circle.
And those are 8 movies, actually, excuse me. But that's the problem. That's the issue, is that the movie going, and I've talked about this too before, where I said that like the reason you're getting movies that are making like less than $10 million domestic now in these like small scale movies is because Hollywood has positioned and the industry is positioned now going to the movies is reserved for these $100 million Power Rangers like affairs. It's a miracle Get Out made as much as it did.
Yeah.
But the thing about this is these next 2 weeks, a lot of people are going to like look at these movies and be like, there's nothing playing. But I hate to say it too, but a lot of these people are the same people that lament Hollywood for not making anything original. If you do not go see Born in China, Free Fire, Phoenix Forgotten, The Promise, Unforgettable, The Circle, How to Be a Latin Lover, or Slight, if you don't go see at least one or two of those films, in my opinion, you don't have the right to complain that Hollywood makes 3 Marvel movies a year, 10 Fast and the Furious movies. You don't have the right to complain. Because that's why Hollywood makes these movies. They're guaranteed net money. That's why a movie like The Boss Baby looks corny. It's already made $119 million in 18 days.
Beauty and the Beast, almost $1 billion. Probably, if we're going to upload this online, if you're hearing this already, it's already at $1 billion. I'm going to guarantee it.
That's what it is. And I mean, and get ready for the Sleeping Beauty remake. Get ready for, several other movies. Get The Lion King.
Disney alone, and then beyond whatever people are remaking.
Beauty and the Beast has crossed $1 billion worldwide, too. I just got the numbers on this.
So essentially what you're saying, this is the same argument for if you don't vote in elections, don't complain about local laws affecting you or anything, right?
That's another thing, too.
It's voting with your wallet.
That's what it is. And Spike Lee even said that, too. Spike Lee brought up a really good point about, and this is a totally different issue, but it's got undertones, is when he was talking about, African American films, and he was talking, because he hates the Medea films. He thinks they're poor representations of the community. I can't speak for that, and I have no right to speak. All I can do is see the movie and judge it on its own terms. Okay. But he even said, too, John Singleton, great director, love his movies. He said everybody loved Boys in the Hood with Ice Cube and Cuba Gooding Jr. Yeah. Everybody saw that. But he said when he made Rosewood, about the Rosewood Massacre, nobody showed up. And he said he's like, we vote with our pocketbooks. And he said if you're going to continue to vote or watch movies like the Tyler Perry movies, and you're not going to go see movies like, I think 12 Years a Slave might have been mentioned. He said, if you're not going to go see movies like that, then he's like, your culture is not going to get represented, or this topic is not going to get represented in films the way you want. So that's a totally different issue, but it speaks to the volume of voting with your pocketbook. Born in China, Free Fire, Phoenix Forgotten, these kind of movies. Like Born in China is another Disney nature movie, the first in 2 years. Free Fire is a comedy, an action comedy about a shootout that takes place in a warehouse. Phoenix Forgotten is a found footage movie. Unforgettable is a romance drama with Rosario Dawson. The Promise is a $100 million Christian Bale, Oscar Isaac film. The Circle has Tom Hanks and Emma Watson about surveillance and Big Brother. Slight is like this really low budget. I think it's Blumhouse Tilt is the studio that's making this. That's the company that put out the Belko Experiment last month. And How to Be a Latin Lover is from the same studio that made Instructions Not Included, which is the highest grossing Spanish speaking film in America. So there's a lot of low key efforts. And I'm going to be running around. I'm seeing Born in China.
Go ahead.
I'm seeing Born in China, Free Fire, Phoenix Forgotten, and Unforgettable this week, and I'll have reviews of those. What were you saying?
Is The Circle considered an indie film? Or no?
It's not an indie. Here's the thing.
Because it's like three huge stars. Hanks,
what I'm talking
Watson
about right here, these are not technically, at least I would say going back.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. You're saying these aren't necessarily indie films.
None of these are really indie films.
But they're not. So you're saying it's the opposite.
They're not tentpole movies.
They're not huge, big budget blockbusters. I
would say these movies would be lucky to make 30, 40 million.
Okay.
These movies would be lucky to make 30, 40 million at the box office. Some of them maybe even likely 10. I don't see Free Fire making a lot of money in America. I really don't. I think it's kind of a niche comedy. Phoenix Forgotten, I don't see making a lot of money either. I think it'll make its budget back, but not much. Found footage stock has dipped, considerably. Unforgettable might make some money. The Circle, I think, will do the best out of all these movies.
Based purely on the star power.
Yes, indeed. And it's based off of, I can't remember what, I think James Patterson novel. That guy writes a lot. I think he did it. The director of that Circle movie, too, is a really good director.
What's the name?
James Ponsoldt. He made a movie called Smashed about, about Mary Elizabeth Winstead as an alcoholic. Then he made The Spectacular Now about Miles Teller, a teenage alcoholic.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which is those are both really good movies. Then he made End of Tour with Jason Segel and Jesse Eisenberg.
I almost
about that one writer whose name's David Foster Wallace, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that one author who made that book Infinite Jest or something. But he's a great director, so I'm looking forward to The Circle like hell. But that's the thing. People, you have an obligation this weekend to go see these movies.
We're not saying on the air, we're not saying go see these movies, because, of course, you can't say that on the air. We're not endorsing these movies. We're just saying if there is a bit of a... There might be a bit of a double standard if you're complaining that, oh, man, another Fast and the Furious. Oh, look at all these Star Wars every year, Marvel every year. And then you don't go out and see these movies that may not necessarily pique your interest.
Absolutely.
Because
you worded that better than I could have.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And I mean,
you said that. You're fine. You did say that.
No, that's what it is. The people that go see, and like it's really in large part to do with the way that the culture has shifted with movie going, is that people go see the movies like last month you saw it. Movie going's not dead. Kong made a bunch of money. Beauty and the Beast made a lot of money. Logan made a ton of money. People are still going to the movies. That's not a concern. It's that people are going to see the movies that they see as like that's worth going to the theater for a big screen. And it's partly due because there's a lot of premium not second tier, but like secondary offerings like Netflix and stuff that encourage people to stay home and watch premium entertainment. I think Scott Mendelson, the writer of Forbes, said it best too. He said, why lament the lack of female characters in movies when you can watch a movie like Supergirl or Winona Earp on Netflix that's got strong female characters. You know what I mean?
TV shows,
yeah,
series.
Absolutely. That they don't have to go to the movie theater for. But I think that there is definitely, I encourage people to look at these smaller movies. Again, Born in China, Free Fire, Phoenix Forgotten, The Promise, Unforgettable, The Circle, How to Be a Latin Lover, and Slight. These movies that are coming out over the next 2 weeks. I encourage people to look at them. Find one that you might be interested in and throw the money to it. Go to the matinee. Just go see these movies. Keep movie going alive, because you know what? I'm seeing if this trend continues in the next 3 years, out of these 8 movies I mentioned, I would bet you in the next 3 years that if these movies came out 3 years from now, at least 2 or 3 of them would go to Amazon or would go to Netflix. They wouldn't even go to theaters. Or they would go to like maybe 20 theaters in the whole country. It's important to go see movies. It's important to go see small-scale movies. I would say support the movies that you might not see during a commercial during a sports game. That's all I'm saying.
He's not saying specifically go see so-and-so movie.
Indeed. I haven't seen him. I couldn't even say it yet. I can't even say that.
He might be back here and they all suck, you know.
Could be. But you know what?
Next week.
I'm not gonna go against. That's why I don't mind. Like I saw Slamma-Jamma. Okay. What was I talking about? We'll end with this. We'll bookend it. Okay. A horrible film. I get it. Okay. Horrible film. But you know what? I don't mind. Even as bad as it was, it came out on the same weekend as Chips, Life, and Power Rangers. I don't mind throwing it $6. I really don't. You know what I mean? If it means
$6?
Yeah, $6. Yeah, for a matinee ticket. I went to AMC.
Okay.
I don't mind throwing it $6. I really don't, because I go in the morning. I'll see it. You know what I mean? I don't mind going to see, like, venture out and going, like this weekend. I saw Gifted. I saw Colossal. I don't mind going out to support these second tier movies, especially on a weekend when you got a movie like Fate of the Furious, which is the glutton of the box office. Yeah. You know what I mean? Coming up next, we got Atlantic by Grayscale, followed by Dirty Laundry by All Time Low. 630-637-8989 is the phone number. Give me a call or shoot me a text. Would love to play the music you want to hear. 630-637-8989. Grayscale. Take it away on FM 89.